Reality recap.
Hi, Evelyn. Yes, I know you have the reunion. Yes, we have 2 more episodes. And then we have the reunion of
I look like the slave. I look like a mom. She was like, you the one that look like you got a high body count hair. I fell the fuck out, y'all.
Candace, has Deborah reached out to you to apologize after the episode aired showing Chris did not flirt with her?
She wouldn't dare. She would get eaten for breakfast.
Oh boy.
No, she's doubling down.
Why would you go meet with Ray J without talking to Princess or letting her know why? Like, she's trying to justify that she told her after the fact and not supposed to make it.
What do you think of your ex-husband Jim coming out and saying you did not try to stop him from suing Shannon and Cameron?
That's a good question. Well, I mean, if his memory is a little foggy about what transpired back then, that's okay. However, he did admit that I had nothing to do with the...
Reality recap. Reality recap.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl V with Reality Recap here for another Tea Talk session. Today we are discussing Real Housewives of Atlanta. We are talking about last night's episode. We are on season 16 of Real Housewives of Atlanta, episode 10. The title of the episode, if you guys are looking for it on other streaming apps, is Meditation and Mediation. And that is exactly what it was. Before we get started, guys, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss a thing, as well as follow me on Instagram and on Facebook at what you see above or here in the corner, reality_recap for all the reality news, gossip in these streets, honey. And don't forget to send some stars on Facebook, all of those good things. I appreciate you all for your support. Now let's get into it. Episode 10 recap. Let me pull my notes up and we're going to go through this episode. And we start off with Shamea and Porsha. They had dinner with Ralph last night. And Porsha is saying that it wasn't a petty move on her behalf. She's saying she didn't know that Ralph was going to be there. Ralph is saying the same. I highly doubt that. But, Shamea was asked to dinner by Ralph because he's looking to start another podcast. It gives me the same vibes of back in the day when Jennifer Williams' ex-husband was starting to meet with everybody because he wanted like Royce to be in a movie and all this stuff. I don't know his logic behind it. I do get that him and Shamea were on a podcast previously together from what they showed. But I just didn't understand, just listening to what he said about the podcast, that it's going to be kings and queens and I don't know, everyday life. Maybe he wants her perspective from a marriage perspective. I don't know. It was just kind of the same thing that Shamea said. Out of all the producers and everyone in Atlanta, Drew is working with Dennis. Why, out of all the women housewives, everything, why did it have to be Shamea that he meet with? I don't know. I feel that there was some calculation there and some get back in that, if I must say so myself. But anyways, they sit down. They tell Ralph that the meal is on him and they ordering snapper, octopus, all types of shit. And he said, "Oh, can I get some fried plantains?" I died, y'all. I said he can't afford this bill. Y'all know I just did the podcast episode with attorney Simone Redwine where we found out that his finances are really coming from a 60-40 split of Drew Sidora LLC. Honey, LinkedIn said he had a job and that he's been at this corporate job for like 9 years. It's a great job as far as the figures that we saw. We Googled for that position. I just don't know if I necessarily believe that he's actually still working that job or that LinkedIn is not just updated. But y'all make sure y'all go watch that podcast episode. It's on my YouTube channel. Let me know your thoughts in the comments on that one. Like and share that one as well. But we dug into the unsealed divorce documents for Ralph and Drew, as well as we dug into what he did for a living. So it's some surprising information in there, so you should go check that out. But yeah, he ordered fried plantains while they ordered everything under the sun. He looking real nervous for this bill to come because I don't know that restaurant and the menus, it was giving shared sides. It was giving like roof Chris vibes. Like it wasn't gonna be no small bill. So he was looking really nervous. But yeah, they sit down. Portia's asking him questions, or she's updating Ralph, I should say, on how she severed ties with Drew with doing Go Naked Hair. She also talks about this text message that she says she got from Dennis, where Dennis is saying that to Drew, per Porsha, this is what the text message says, that he doesn't want to sleep with Drew. Talking about Dennis, like, I'm not going to sleep with you, but I just want my money. And it's being provided to Ralph as if the context of the text is like, I'll give you this booty for some beats. And he's saying, nah, I'll pass on the booty, run me the money. I don't necessarily believe that. I told you guys this before. I'm not so pleased with Portia's return. I was really excited for her return, but it's giving, she's saying that Ralph and not Ralph, but Dennis and Drew have made up their storyline. But everything going on with Porsha outside of her divorce, that we really aren't talking too much about, that's like what she's using to kind of be short with everyone and not argue, is the divorce. But oh, it's a fly down here in my basement. I knew he was gonna do that. Fly done got in the house. It's summertime, I guess, or almost. But anyway, y'all be seeing me swat through this video. Sorry about that. But I'm not pleased with her return. If anyone is giving, she's curating these storylines, and this text message is one of them. Now, I do believe the bigger picture is that Dennis is lying to the both of them. He doesn't want to be in the middle. He's scared of both of them. He's definitely scared of Porsha. He don't want no beef with her. So I don't know if Dennis said, gave her that text message in that manner. I wouldn't put it past him. So the bigger issue is that he won't step in the middle of them, be clear on what his intentions are with Drew, as well as be upfront, and should have been upfront with Porsha. I totally agree with that. But do I think this text message is being taken out of context? I honestly do. So, So I just don't necessarily think this is a valid storyline. And this text message is growing legs that it really shouldn't grow. Just my honest opinion. So with that said, they're giving they're giving Ralph the third degree about cheating. And has he cheated on Drew? He's saying that Drew's cheated on him with Ty Young. Ty Young, you guys know, is now, or maybe you don't, but you should, if you're following me and watching my videos, she is on Basketball Wives now, and also the person that he accused her of cheating on when they started filing for divorce. He says that he's never cheated and that she's the one that cheated with Ty Young. Do I believe that? Absolutely not. Do I believe when he went to Tampa he was cheating? I do. I believe he's cheating in Atlanta and everywhere else. I'm just going to be honest. Those are just my thoughts, allegedly. Again, that's just my thoughts, but they give him the third degree and that's what he comes up with. He's done no wrong. He married Drew quickly. They met. Within 3 months they were engaged. Within 6 months they were married. And I think he said within 8 or 9 months she was pregnant. So it was a very whirlwind romance. I can understand that. And he says that he doesn't like the person that she's growing into. Nothing about himself. Red flag. But yeah, so they end that with them getting dessert. He looking even more stressed about them getting dessert because he already can't afford the bill. But that's how that conversation ends. So we then go to Angela. Angela has, as we know, multiple properties that she's invested in, that she's like rehabbing for resale. And I don't understand why she would invest in so many properties at once. I'm no millionaire. I don't know how it works. But I just don't understand why she invested in so many and maybe not one at a time, get her money back and go into the next. Because she mentioned that she's in debt like $2 million. And she's selling that one home that we saw last night for $3 million that she had Kellie come look at, because Kellie's also looking for a new house. She's in a townhouse temporarily right now, and we got to see her marital home, which was huge, like 7,000 square feet, just the outside of it. But she got the judgment from the judge to be able to move forward with selling it, and then she has to find a new property. So she went to see this home, but I would have to agree with Kelly. It wasn't given 3 million. I mean, I would live in it, of course, because it's way bigger than the home that I have now. I'm gonna be honest, but the closet space was really small. It was just, I was expecting it to be grand. Kelly mentioned some things too, like the ceiling was really low. You want grand ceilings and stuff and that huge of a house. And for $3 million, I don't know if she's necessarily going to get that. I don't know the neighborhood, but she's trying to unload these houses quickly because she's $2 million in debt with all these properties. I really didn't just understand why not one at a time. Just my thoughts. So, she shows Kelly the home. They sit down, and Kelly to me was sucking up right away. She's like, you look so beautiful today. You look so beautiful today. And it's like she's already trying to warm up Angela, because we know at the Bailey Q, Angela and Britt went back and forth, and we heard Kelly yell out as usual, "What about that side baby though?" Because y'all know it's been so many conversation about Angela and Charles and him having a baby outside of his marriage. And Angela clears that up. And she also clears up, which I posted a few weeks ago, because I think she said more than she was supposed to on a radio interview recently. But she said that when she said the things to Wendy Williams, which if you don't know about, Wendy Williams did not a podcast, did her, Wendy Williams show a few moons ago. And she talked about when she was going through her infidelity issues with her husband, and the whole news broke that he had another baby and all of that. She says that she said that she was at a party with Charles and with Angela, and Angela said to her, "Oh, it's just a baby, like it's just a baby. You shouldn't leave." And that she asked Angela, "Did Charles have a baby on you, or did someone have a baby on you?" And she says that Angela nodded yes and looked at Charles. Angela says that was not the case. She says that she was talking about her child's father, her oldest daughter's father, not Charles. She says Charles has not had a baby outside of their marriage. There were some infidelities, and she correlated that to the Madison Square Garden incidents where he was kicked out and banned forever, and that he needed validation. She said not to excuse it, but that he was looking for validation within these other women, and that was part of their separation. That's her story. She's sticking to it. She says she's been transparent about their trials and tribulations in marriage. So that's what she cleared up. We'll see. I think there's more to come in this season finale, though. So, do I wish that this is true? No, I absolutely don't. But the streets are still buzzing. So I think we need to give it more time to understand if there's anything else that's going to come out, falling out of Charles' closet. But that is what she cleared up with Kelly. Angela also tells Kelly that she had dinner with Shamea, and that Shamea told her that she's not happy about things in her relationship with Porsha. That's step number one of what irked me last night, was that Angela's the one telling this stuff, that Shamea told her that she wasn't happy that Porsha back in the day didn't come to her wedding in Kenya, that Porsha dims her light, or that she's not able to shine as much around Porsha, that Porsha didn't want her on the show just in the capacity of friend of, not as a housewife. All things that if Shamea had these issues, there should have been a conversation or multiple conversations with your best friend until resolved. I don't understand why it feels like in this group, Shamea is talking to Kelly, Shamea is talking to Angela. There's no conversations happening with Porsha. So that's what I guess my issue is in this whole situation, is that we're calling ourselves best friends, right? So why isn't that we can't have this conversation with our friends? Sorry, y'all, working on this set up here to make sure everything is working okay. But yeah, why can't we have the conversation with our friend? So I was that was the first thing that irked me in the episode. And then we cut to Brittany. I'm not interested. I've said this before, so you can say that I'm a Kenya stan or whatever. That's not the case. I'm genuinely not interested in Britt's storyline outside of when she's arguing with the girls. I'm not interested in her sister beef. I'm not interested in her sister's beef with her husband. She did, we cut to her. We talk about that. They decide that they're going to sit down, her sister and husband, and have a conversation. You know, the sister feels like the husband stepped in and they're no longer close, or that she has to get permission to hang around her. The husband feels that's not the case. They just have a close relationship, so they decide they're going to talk. That's the extent of what I care about that. And that's actually too much. I'm just, I'm recapping, so I'm doing my job. But I'm not interested in Brittany's storyline at all. Angela then invites Porsha over to her rental property. She's not inviting Porsha over to her home because she said, you know what? You got a history of taking people's husbands. And you've already said down at the Nashville trip that you would sleep with Charles and that you should. So I'm going to have you meet with me at my rental property. No, ma'am, no ham will you come around my husband. I thought that was hilarious. So they play tennis at her rental property. They sit down and Porsha invites her to her Pamper by Porsha event that we saw in the episode. And they get to talking about if there's any reconciliation that can happen between Drew and Porsha. Porsha then brings up this janky text message that I need to see all of the text message, y'all. I told you I believe it's being taken out of context, but she brings that up, and Angela just doesn't seem to believe that Drew would be trying to give booty for beats. Okay. So then they go into Angela starts telling Porsha about her dinner with Shamea, and that the things that I just mentioned to you guys that Shamea has said to her. Porsha starts crying. She seems caught off guard. I think the crying was some dramatics, but again, it seems like it does feel like Porsha doesn't have the capacity this season to really be the Porsha that we want her to be. The one that can read down, joke, have a good time. She came back into the situation thinking she was coming on the show as Mrs. Gubadia, and that has not been the case. So whenever there's an argument that we're expecting Porsha to be Porsha, like in Nashville at the table with Angela or with Drew trying to leave, you expect her to show up. She's not showing up. She doesn't have the capacity, and anything that's piling on top of what's going on with this divorce, she cries or she shuts down. So she cries and she's ready to leave, and she just says she feels overwhelmed. So maybe that's what it is. My disappointment about Porsha's return is that she's not the Porsha that we were all excited to see come back right now. Maybe she will be. She can't even get divorced, allegedly, is what I read in the streets, because of this whole ICE situation. She can't even move forward with her divorce right now. So I don't know how long this is going to be lingering over her head. But we then see Drew talk to a therapist. She's talking to the therapist because Angela also done yap with her. Like, Angela's all over the place. No wonder she was the most picked messy person when they did like the little Q&A before the season started. Angela was the one picked as like this quiet sniper type that starts mess that you wouldn't even expect. So she has told Drew that Ralph had dinner with Porsha and Shamea, what was said, the text message that was shared. So she's now talking to the same therapist that was once her couple therapist. And she's saying that this is not true. I told you guys, I don't believe that Drew and Dennis are in a romantic capacity. I really, really don't. It was funny to hear Drew say, like, do you see Dennis? Like, he's not my type. He's not my build. And then they show him with his little dad bod and pop belly. Ralph does seemingly work out and have a great body. So it adds up. That's not her type. But I just don't believe that. I think I felt Drew was genuine when she came to Porsha at Shamea's birthday party and saying, like, look, nothing of the sort. I wouldn't do those things. It was genuine to me. So I thought they was going to move on from there. But again, this is part of the curated storyline that I feel like Porsha is coming up with. But she talks to the therapist. She says that her and Ralph have completely cut off communication since the court hearing where he won. He was rewarded to still continue to stay in the basement and for the court documents to be unsealed. So they are not speaking at all. And now she's hearing he's out on podcast interviews or dates with Shamea and with Drew. So I'm not Shamea and Porsha. So she had to get back into her therapy bag. We then see Porsha's Pampered by Porsha event. Drew had me cracking up because they all came in thinking they were coming to this event to be pampered. But Porsha had the photographer on deck to take pictures with all of them in their lingerie, which was gorgeous. Everyone looked good. Cheeks out. They looked good. The Atlanta girls are serving, honey. But they taking pictures and she slapped them sheets right in the middle. And Drew says, I didn't get a contract for Pampered by Porsha. Are we getting paid for this or are we helping to promote this? Because my contract was ended with Go Naked Hair. So what are we doing here? It doesn't seem like Porsha used it for advertisement, but she definitely was strategic in making sure she got pictures with everyone. And some of the girls posted it ahead of last night's episode. At least the ones that she's cool with posted it. So I think that was her plan all along, was to get them in the pictures, and whoever I'm cool with at the time of this airing will promote my sheets. That's how I took it. But I will say, a few of you said in my comments and some of my live recaps of Real Housewives of Atlanta that the sheets are really, really good, which reminds me, I wanted to get some and try, but you guys have been raving about the Pampered by Porsha sheets, my followers. So if you haven't got you some, this is not a paid advertisement, but that's what I had heard. Y'all should try it out as well and let me know. But I think I'm going to get me some because I did hear they're really, really good sheets. Durable, comfortable is what I heard. So just passing along the message. So while they're at this Pampered by Porsha event, I do feel like I've already mentioned, I feel like Shamea is a part of this beef because she's not having the conversation with Porsha. And on the other hand, I do feel like Kellie and Angela have their nose too far up in this business that don't have nothing to do with them. So you have Kellie who's sitting with Shamea and telling Shamea, yeah, well, Angela went back and told Porsha everything that you said. You know, all of that. She's running and telling that. Angela's telling everything that everybody's telling her. And then they sit down. They're having a meditation at the Pampered by Porsha event. And they create, or Lauren, Porsha's sister, she's running the meditation and she asks for everyone to get up and have like a safe space to, you know, discuss things with Porsha. And Angela starts off the conversation because she feels that Shamea needs a little push, that Shamea is scared of Porsha or is scared to have these conversations. I know Shamea says she's a people pleaser, but she doesn't come off like someone that can't have a conversation. But she decides to insert herself in saying that, listen, I wouldn't even know that Porsha didn't come to Shamea's wedding. So clearly it's something that's on her mind. I don't know, because on the after show, I don't believe none of this stuff Angela saying. No, she didn't know that Porsha didn't go to her wedding, although it was on a previous season of Real Housewives of Atlanta. She said in the after show, she don't know what Ralph looked like. She don't know what Dennis looked like. Because that's where Drew said that Dennis wasn't her type, and they cut to his little belly and stuff was on the after show. I just don't believe that you didn't do any research or wasn't watching this show. Everybody knew about that and her marriage in Kenya that Porsha didn't go to because she said she couldn't sit in and sit in coach or not fly first class that long. So she didn't go. But it was a different story last night. But Porsha she combated some of the things that I was saying. She said that she came with her receipts, that she did not block Shamea forever being a housewife. Shamea says, yes, she did. She provided her receipts, because this stuff doesn't seem to be coming all out of Shamea's mouth, or it is, and it's a telephone game. So maybe Shamea did say it because Angela knew about it, but said that, yeah, this is one of our beefs, or one of our obstacles in our relationship. But then she also knew that that wasn't true, or Porsha provided the truth. So I don't know if Angela, this telephone game, they always getting something wrong. I don't know if it's half truths, not all the information, adding some sauce on it. I don't know, but it's brewing more nonsense than needs to be, because Angela's over there speaking about how these are the things that Shamea said. Shamea's like, I didn't speak yet. I didn't say those things. Anything I said, I've already said it to you, Porsha. Portia's upset because she feels like she's being made out to be a bad friend. Like she doesn't care about Shamea, that she's jealous, and that's not the case. She's saying that she didn't go to Kenya to the wedding because 2 months prior, her and Shamea weren't in a good place. They actually weren't speaking. And then they started to get in a good place, but that she didn't go to Kenya, but she was a part of her traditional wedding in Atlanta, that she showed her receipts and her emails, that she wanted her to be a housewife. At the time, her husband didn't want to film. So that was a roadblock, things like that. So it sounds like, again, these are all things that they have talked about before. If I'm being totally honest with y'all, I'm looking at like, hell, is this curated by Shamea and Porsha as part of their storyline, that you're going to act like y'all not really cool, y'all don't talk to each other, it's carrying on after the show, Shamea crying on Watch What Happens Live? Is it part of the grand scheme of it all? I don't know, guys. That's how I'm feeling. Nothing of Porsha's storyline is coming off as genuine, other than the divorce that we know is happening, but we don't talk too much about, because at this point in the game, Simon was throwing legal papers left and right at Bravo, at Porsha. He didn't want her filming in the house, in the car, none of those things. So we're not really talking about the depth of the divorce at this point in time. So I'm just wondering, is this all last minute curated things to save? I don't have a marriage to show. I don't have a great life to show right now. I need some other stuff. But I'm really disappointed in their friendship. This friendship, the storyline, her return. I'm honestly overall underwhelmed and disappointed. And I really, really love Porsha. I haven't been shy about that. Like, she's my top housewife. I love Porsha, but I'm highly disappointed. She's gonna have to come with something better if she does return for season 17, if she has the capacity to return with all of this going on. And now her, coming out as the bad guy. A lot of people seem to not be pleased with her return at this point. So I don't know, guys, but they left off the conversation with Shamea saying she feeling like nothing's really going to get resolved right now. She gives her friends grace. Porsha saying, well, thank you for your grace. And Shamea saying that sounds really condescending. So we're just going to continue to watch the demise of their friendship. Again, Shamea was on Watch What Happens Live and made it clear that they are not close at all right now. She's mentioned that on several interviews. Even for like PJ's birthday, we saw Shamea and her daughter send a happy birthday over Instagram, but they don't seem to be hanging out or at birthdays, even the children. So it's sad. It's sad. Again, it may be curated though. They may be secretly attending birthday parties and stuff. That's just how I feel. But I just don't know if I could trust any of this. The beef with Drew, this text message, sitting down with Ralph, the Shamea stuff. I'm questioning it all at this point. I really, really am. I am just looking forward to this continuing in a better direction. Season 16, it's an up and down roller coaster with me. Some weeks it's good, depending on the shade and the arguments. This week, I do know that Phaedra is making her return on May 25th. So we have 2 weeks left until Phaedra will return. The mid-season trailer dropped for Real Housewives of Atlanta last week. You can check it out on my Instagram and Facebook. No copyright intended, but check that out. But yes, Phaedra will be returning on May 25th, guys. So I'm hoping she could bring a little bit of spice. But yes, those are my thoughts on Real Housewives of Atlanta season 16, episode 10. Again, the name or title of the episode was Meditation and Mediation, if you're looking for it on any other streaming apps. And please, again, before I go, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you find all my recaps, and follow me on Instagram and Facebook at what you see down here, reality_recap, guys. I will be back tomorrow with a recap of tonight's episode of Basketball Wives, so you make sure you look out for that. Set your alerts, guys. Before I get out of here, as I always say, reality TV stars are humans too. Let's not forget that. It's your girl V with Reality Recap. Y'all have a happy Monday. Peace.